Hey everybody, Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to give you guys a quick gaming demo. This is a demonstration of Dead Trigger on the Sony Xperia Tablet Z. So without further ado, let's get right down to it. Now remember, this does have a full 1080p display. You're looking at a traditional TFT, but nonetheless, you've got 1920 by 1200p resolution, very solid, very strong viewing angles, very bright display. Also, you've got the benefit of having the widest color gamut of any tablet on the market. So while it doesn't have the pixel count that many of the latest and greatest tablets have, like the Nexus 10 and latest gen iPad, and soon to be launched Transformer Infinity that's been revamped, it's still, without question, in my opinion, one of the best tablet displays I've ever seen. Ooh, I'm getting knocked out from behind here. But basically, this should give you guys a fairly good idea of what to expect in terms of graphics from this tablet. Sorry if I'm not keeping everything on frame. It's a little bit difficult this close playing this first-person shooter without picking up glare, which is what I'm trying to balance as I get attacked from behind here. So I took care of that business. But I think that should give you guys a pretty good idea of what the performance is like. It's very solid, very fluid. Now, with new tablets coming out, like the Asus Transformer that I just mentioned, you are getting the Tegra 4, which graphically is going to outperform this tablet, no question about it. You're also getting, USB 3.0, as well as a whole host of new features that just aren't part of this generation. So the processor is in another class. In terms of memory, that's probably about the only thing. You're still looking at 2 gigs of RAM. So that's certainly relevant, but otherwise, almost in every arena, the new generation of tablets that are on the way, as I back out of the game, certainly look to best this tablet in every way. Where they do not, and this is what I mentioned in my last review segment of the Xperia Tablet Z, where they do not meet the Z is really in design, as well as its water resistance. I can assure you right now, at least down the road through the course of this year, I highly doubt we're going to see a tablet that rivals the weight, the 1.09 weight of this tablet, that you're just a hair over a pound. The fact that it's actually thinner than a pencil, and the water resistance. Being able to submerge this tablet for up to 3 minutes in up to a meter depth of water, or 3 feet, that's something you're not going to see, at least right now. We know, as great as the specifications are on the latest Infinity Transformer, and they do look great. Don't question me for a moment. That's all the next gen stuff. Between the high-res screen and that Tegra 4 is what I've really been waiting for to see in some tablets. As many of you know, I'm a big fan of NVIDIA and their Tegra-based lineup of chips. Nonetheless, this tablet's going to have its segment because it has an appeal. It's got that great mesh or meld of form and functionality, I think, that appeals to a tremendous amount of users. And even though it's only got that Snapdragon S4 Pro, and the 800 series is right around the corner, we're going to see tablets very soon with that. You've got the Tegra 4. There's a lot of stiff competition, even within Snapdragon's own stable, and that's part of why this tablet, even though Sony got to market earlier, was still kind of late in regards to the actual hardware, which I did mention. But no fear, if you're not concerned with having the most bleeding edge graphics as well as processing performance, this tablet is going to be more than enough. And even right now, if you do need bleeding edge, it's there. What I'm really trying to say is that in 6 months from now, those Tegra 4 based and Snapdragon 800 based devices are clearly going to be far more competent at dealing with higher performance games, newer games, than this tablet. But I think for most users out there right now, that's really not a critical point. It's just something I want you guys to know. So overall, I still think this is the best Android tablet on the market, especially since all of the tablets that you could read about right now the comparisons that are going on, none of those tablets have actually made it into retail channels. So as far as the current best of the best, you're still looking at it here. As far as gaming, there's nothing you're going to try to play on this right now that it's going to fail at delivering, essentially, because it is a very competent device with extraordinarily solid hardware. It's just not next generation when it comes to processing and graphics. And that's where, even though it's right up there with the best now, I said in my last review, you know, it could be anywhere from a month to 3 months, and the next day we were looking at, you know, the launch, or at least announcement, of an Infinity tablet that clearly outclasses this, at least from an internal you know, standpoint. As far as build quality, the water resistance, overall quality, this is a dust-proof tablet as well. One of my biggest pet peeves is dust getting under the screen. That's something with this you really don't have to worry about, regardless of, you know, whether or not you want to put a screen protector on here. It is dust-proof, so that says a lot. Very sturdy, very well made. It is expensive. $500 for the 16 gig Wi-Fi, $600 for the 32. You do have that micro SD card slot for storage expansion, which is a big plus, and the screen is just brilliant. So between the form factor and phenomenal screen, expandable storage, you can charge via micro USB, video out through micro USB. It's really a departure from Sony's previous generations, and in a good way in just about every single regard. Sometimes when you redo things, you don't necessarily do them right. Sony's done just about every single thing right here. I should say the Xperia team has. As far as the only things right now that I'm really not in love with this tablet, I would have to say there's a little bit of backlight bleed, nothing too serious. I think that's also going to vary unit to unit like any product, but overall QC on this has been exceptionally good, and the backlight bleed I'm mentioning, really, I think most of you will not even notice. There isn't really flex in the actual casing itself. You're not going to actually be able to flex it end to end, but much like the Nexus 10, the actual backside, there is a little bit of give on this, you know, polycarbonate plastic combo, whatever this is, and you guys can actually hear it right now. May not be audible, but basically I'm not doing anything special here. I noticed this during regular use, just holding the tablet while your hands are on, you know, either end, back end. Obviously it's not going to be your thumbs, it's going to be the balance of your hand. You will actually, if you just hold it like any normal person would on the side of the tablets, you will feel on the left side, at least on my unit here, the back cover does you know, have a little bit of give. Whether or not that will bother you is really a matter of personal opinion and preference. I'm not really disturbed by it because overall build quality and construction is exceptionally good, some of the best I've ever seen, and this is, after all, something I'm seeing across the board from just about everyone, whether it's the Nexus 10, Galaxy Note 10.1, they all have a little bit of flex in the back cover. So, you know, something I'm pointing out to you guys, but it's not really a complaint. It's just something that if I didn't tell you, I'd be negligent. And overall, really do love these the power button as well as the volume rocker. I have absolutely had zero accidental presses. Even when your hand is really flush right up against them, they do not press in. So the fact that they do not depress when you've got your hand on it says everything about Sony paying attention to design cues that are critical. But overall, this can game. It can hang with the current generation. Will it hang with the Tegra 4? Yes. Will the Tegra 4 outperform it? Yeah. Will it run circles around it? I don't know. We've got to wait and see some benchmarks. But there's no question between the Snapdragon 800 and Tegra 4, if you have to have bleeding edge hardware, and that's more important to you than the waterproofing and overall design and just great lightweight of this tablet, which really does make it the only one-handed or easy to use, I'll say for a prolonged period of time, 10.1-inch Full HD display based Jelly Bean tablet, then certainly wait, because a lot of things are on the way. The tablet market's been dry for quite a while, and I think the Xperia is just the beginning of some great products that will fill the pipeline over the rest of this year and into, obviously, the first quarter of 2014. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And of course, as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.